And we've got a new menu item. This is the Atomic Shop, which explains a question I asked in one of the earlier videos, which is what these atoms are in the bottom right-hand corner that you keep earning throughout the game. And this is where you can spend them. So this looks like it's the microtransaction area of Fallout 76, which is almost certainly going to upset a few people in terms of its existence, really. So basically what they're saying is, thank you for participating in the beta. You can get a Vault 76 cap for a mere 500 atoms. And an Our Future Begins frame for your photos, and a wave. That's an emotion thing that you can use when you come across other players in the game. It's a little bit like the emotions that you could display in games like Fable. There's different ways you can react to people. You can get some nice swanky pajamas, a red rocket jumpsuit, some black overalls, which don't actually look that black, red shirt and slacks, a sun hat. Some of this stuff I'm used to finding around in the wilderness, and so you've got a few different bits and pieces that you can add to your camp, which is a bit like the base building you got in Fallout 4. You can also buy some tattoos and some new face paints, some photo mode stuff, so poses that you can do in front of the camera, and a couple of extra frames, and some more emotes that you can do. Some of them are team related. One there waving some cash, showing that you're looking to buy some stuff. Various emoticons. So there we go. So these are almost certainly, I'm not sure what the icons are for. I guess they must be player icons that appear for you when you're coming across other people in the wilderness. Some of which I already own. So there we go. These are some of the things you can buy with your atoms. Let's have another look at the social. I've lost my team from the other day, so gonna have to do that again. So let's have a look at settings, see if there's anything that's changed in there. It's one thing I've noticed with this is that there has been some subtle changes to things as the feedback's gone in, and as new versions of the beta have been available. I don't think there's much we can do with our character other than select him, so let's go back into the game. And it found my world, which is excellent. That means I can crack on. So here's Mr. Poindexter with his ID card. Marked down as a resident of Vault 76, which of course he isn't anymore because he's moved out. He's roaming West Virginia. Now, as I remember, I'd gone following off some guy that I'd made friends with. Well, I'll say made friends with. I'd kind of done a little bit of running around with. We kind of managed to go a whole 5 minutes without shooting each other, which is always nice. Oh, I remember, that's right, I was following the railway line and I got to this section here and found a shed load of super mutants, and I didn't have a weapon worth using. So I'd gone back to Flatwoods to try and figure out how I could craft some stuff. And then I made friends and we ended up running over here for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why. But hey ho, that's what we did. Been to Sutton Station, so there's the Green Country Lodge, Relay Tower, been up there. Vaultic Agricultural Research Centre, that was a blast. And I'm now just trying to figure out what route I took to get to the Flatwood in the first place. Obviously I set off from here, Vault 76 itself, and went down a path, but was it this path? Seems unlikely. I think I would have noticed the big wheel. And I did seem to go fairly directly to Flatwood, so maybe we can retrace our steps again. Let's try that. Let's fast travel to Vault 76. One of my very early photo shoot opportunities. Not sure whether I entirely like it, but you know, that's what experimentation's for. And this is where I find out whether this is a PvP griefer or a genuine Fallout. Now I'm out of ammo. So these are pesky little buggers, these robots. These are your first bad guys that you meet as you come out of the propaganda flyer. Ooh. Oh, we'll take some of that then. Okay. Let's go beat another one up. Oh, so they're speaking Chinese, are they? These little Liberator robots. Okay. Come here, friend. So this is the area just outside the vault. We'll see what else there is around here that we can maybe use to find some more information out, or to maybe make some more progress, maybe get some better weaponry. And it's also a bit of a change from Flatwood and all the mission stuff. This is proper exploring. I have no idea what I'm going to find. No idea whether it's going to be of any use to me whatsoever, but let's... So this is the main road that I saw on the map. I'm going to try and find myself a better weapon. So I think these Liberator robots are one of those things where they're not difficult to kill, but there's a lot of them. Luckily I found some ammo. There's another one around somewhere, I can hear it. And it's probably going to make its presence felt in a moment. There it is. Okay, let's go up here. I'm determined to get rid of this little varmint. And that's another one dead. Which is nice. Oh no. They're pesky. They're pesky and they're numerous. And I think this is probably one of the big feedback items that Bethesda are going to get from these beta sessions, is that there's a lot of balancing needs to be done. Sometimes you'll come up against enemies which in the previous games you would have batted aside without a second thought, and suddenly here they are so numerous and so fast that you barely stand a chance against them. I know I've come a cropper against some fairly standard enemies in the past on these beta tests. And I just wonder if some of it is down to the fact that there's an assumption you'll be playing in large groups with the multiplayer option. And this is my big fear. That perhaps in trying to make a satisfying multiplayer experience, the actual sort of adventure part of Fallout, which has been a major selling point for the games in the past, this idea of exploring a post-apocalyptic wasteland and doing your own thing. I'm just hoping that won't get lost in this. And you see, this is the thing. The liberators that I've already killed are now respawning before I've had a chance to leave the area where I killed them. Which is where it gets a bit frustrating, because you can't actually leave the area without wiping them all out, or they'll just kill you to death. Which I guess is the whole point of killer robots, but you know, they're not called killer robots, they're called liberator robots. And you know, liberator robots, they sound quite friendly. But these buggers are anything but friendly. So I'm hoping that very soon I'll be able to make a move out of this area. And this is interesting. I did wonder if for a minute there I wouldn't be able to get out of that area if it was a closed off area, because they've not finished with the design on this area. But no, it was just a fence there to presumably stop people getting into that area in the time before the war. Oh dear. Here we go. Here's some bad guys. Well, that made short shift of them. The RSPCA would have a field day with that piece of gaming. But I figure this is post-apocalyptic West Virginia. It's probably dog eat adventurer. That kind of world. I'm sure they're taunting me with all these vehicles left abandoned. Because of course the thing is, this is 200 years before the other Fallout games. So anything that you find is sort of less decayed. There's less mutation. Oh, well, I did that by accident and got caught in my own explosion. How did I do that then? Ah, okay, that's worth remembering then. So a quick tap and you're extremely violent with a bludgeoning instrument, and holding the right button launches whatever missile you may have to hand. I think I've used all my missiles up now. So, a quick tap and you're extremely violent with a bludgeoning instrument, and holding the right button launches whatever missile you may have to hand. I think I've used all my missiles up now. So, a quick tap and you're extremely violent with a bludgeoning instrument, and holding the right button launches whatever missile you may have to hand. I think I've used all my missiles up now. quick look at the map. And yet, this is the road that leads down to this big wheel. Not the first time that some kind of amusement park ride featured in a Fallout game. Fallout New Vegas, for example, had a big roller coaster in the town of Prim, which was one of your first encounter areas. One of your first areas where you had missions to do. Outside, of course, of the initial resting place of your wastelander, your vault dweller. So this is the road we saw leading down, presumably some kind of mountain path, judging by the way that it is winding. Let's take a shortcut. Oh, someone went off-road there. So that was a bit of a shortcut. And we may see that roller coaster any moment. I'm not going to get too frustrated if I die now on these beta test sessions. I could always start a new character. Bethesda have said that any progress you make on the game in the beta will be carried forward, but I'm one of those players who I tend to have a bit of an experiment. First of all, I don't necessarily start off with the character that I'm going to finish the entire game with, so I'll maybe spend half an hour just getting used to the controls and things like that, understanding where things are, how things work, and then once I've got that understanding, then I'll start doing it seriously and select a character that I feel is going to take me on that journey to the end of the game. And then I usually do that until I've completed the main story. And then sometimes if I'm going to go do some DLC or try a different track. Well, that's an interesting bit of flora. Oops. We've got an axe-wielding maniac here. So that's not very good. Oh, it was a sickle. I do apologise. I had him all wrong there. Thought it was an axe-wielding maniac. Turned out he was just a sickle-wielding maniac. But I think it was an easy mistake to make at that distance. So I need to eat some food. So let's see what we've got. I've got some grape mentats, some gumdrops, some muck fruit juice, some opossum meat. That's going to be tasty. Some radroach meat. This is some spoiled meat. That'll be lovely. Oh, and I've acquired a disease. Excellent. Luckily, up here somewhere, I've got a disease cure. And I've also got some Radaway, which will get rid of that nicely. Have I found any stim packs recently? No. So, okay. So I can't necessarily get fully healed. Do need to drink some water though. I think we've got some boiled water there. Yep. We have. So I'm fed and watered. What more can you want from a post-nuclear West Virginia? And this is all looking a bit familiar. The same old familiar kind of buildings that you normally see in a Fallout thing. But this looks like a full-on amusement park here. Oh, these are fast. These are fast. Oh. I'm going to die in a moment. Which is a shame. Because this is one of those things where, you know, in previous games, by the time I get to something like that, I'd have so much kit. I'd be able to take all of them out. There doesn't seem to be a great deal of kit, and again, it may be because I'm only getting small amounts of playtime in the world, but maybe I need to be spending more time crafting and less time adventuring, but then that seems to go against the grain of the Fallout series, so... Let's see what we can gain. Here, let's see if there's another way out. So we've been... So if you go to the left, that heads you down towards... if we head down there, that heads us towards Flatwoods. I haven't headed down here. This is new. But I'm going to go see that robot there, because that robot there may have weapons and stuff for sale. Or it may not. There's very little coming from the robot, which is not great. Kind of needed a bit of assistance from him, ideally. And that brings us to the car park where I was before, where all the little Liberator robots were. They don't seem to be quite so numerous here. Maybe I was doing it down earlier and maybe they weren't actually respawning. Maybe I'd just missed some. Although, what I'm going to do with all these propaganda flyers, I've no idea. Probably scrap them at some convenient juncture and use them for some fiendishly, I don't know, paper-based weapon. I mean, you know, maybe try and take out a feral ghoul with a paper cut. Vicious, I know, but you know, sometimes a man's got to do and all that. So let's have a look. Let's go off the beaten track. Let's go off-road for a few minutes. Probably until the next time I die, at which point I shall bid you a fond farewell. So here we go. A little bit of a... detour. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and head for that area that's called Mothman. So let's just make sure I'm pointing in the right direction. Yep, so if I keep going in a straight line from here, I realise that there may be all sorts of terrible woodland terrors. Oh, now, this looks interesting. This looks like someone kind of camps here. There's like a target, and clearly it's some kind of target practice area. We'll have that combat knife though. That'd be good. I'm sure that'll come in useful. So, there we go. Are we still heading in the right direction? We are. So. Knowing Fallout and the way it handles mutations, I'll probably get to this place and find that Mothman is in fact a giant combination of moth and man brought on by the radiation. That was part of the war. So, we've hit that road there, which is about halfway to the Mothman building. So we'll just carry on a bit further and see what's happening. I just can't get over how rich the colours are on this version of Fallout. And I realise it's probably deliberate to show that there's not as much decay as there is in the previous games, which are set later, so therefore the Fallouts have more chance to affect the wildlife. Oh, look, got some wild carrot. So there's some kind of building. I guess that's the one that you can see there just before the Mothman building or base or whatever it might be. But let's see. It's probably some kind of well-known tourist. Oh no. Well, that's the Marigold Pavilion. Whatever that is. Whoa. Well, I made short shrift of those chaps. And they were quite vicious examples of the scorched people. I haven't reached the right level for that particular bad guy. You could come to a very sticky end without actually doing anything much wrong. You've just, you've made your choice. You turned left instead of turned right. It just happened to be a bit more dangerous than you were expecting. And I think sometimes that's a bit disheartening. But so far, I haven't encountered anything too much like that in Fallout 76. Well, that's it. We've taken you down to the riverbank. We've taken you for 3 routes out of Vault 76. We've not done much in the way of furthering the story tonight, but we've had a couple of scraps. Basically got away with it so far. Although I do have a feeling I'm just heading towards the bit where the gunfire was coming from earlier. But that's alright, because hopefully they've done for each other, and I'm now picking up the spoils with plenty of rounds of ammo. Even a little weapon there, which is nice. So yeah, it's a nice evening stroll by the riverbank here. So where does that put me? So here I am. I'm heading here. That was my last death by the roller coaster. I'm not going to head back up there. Thanks for watching the stream. Hope it's been useful for you. In the meantime, ta-ta for now.